Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse new basic Batman. This is technically the Three Jokers Batman 3 Jokers version of Batman. It's basically just your standard go-to Batman, which we haven't really gotten from McFarlane yet, so I know a lot of people are really excited about this. I got a lot of messages asking me to review it. It's our first good Batman, that kind of thing, and I thought, hey, maybe it's going to be a really good one, so I will go ahead and review that for you guys, and here we are. That's the story that led to this moment right now in history. And unfortunately, it's not going to be a particularly amazing review. You're going to hear a lot of the same things you've heard before about McFarlane stuff, but there is some good stuff to talk about too. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 19 centimeters to the top of his head, not counting the very tips of his bat ears, which makes him just shy of 7.5 inches. And so that's reasonably scaled for this line of figures. That's fine. And the aesthetic is in some ways good, and in other ways it's more of the same. But first, let's do a quick question of the day. How much are you guys into this McFarlane line as it continues? We are getting a little bit more variety as we go, but it's more variety of Batman for the most part. For people like me, that's fine. I mean, I don't particularly collect this line because I don't care for it personally, but Batman's fine for me. I like Batman. The more Batman, the better. But I'm guessing a lot of you, like, say, Superman fans or whatever, although he's getting some, he's not getting that much love. So how do you guys feel as this line continues to be more and more about Batman? Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic on this guy. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's just mention that he is basically just gray plastic and black plastic. There's really no paint on this guy other than right here, obviously, and on his face. And we'll talk about those in a minute, but the rest is just gray plastic. The legs are kind of like a satin finish, the stomach's kind of glossy, the torso's kind of matte, the arms are mostly matte. It's a little bit all over the place. It is just gray plastic, though it looks very cheap. I would excuse it if the other things that I'm going to bring up weren't a problem, because it is a $20 figure, and I think that's fine. I don't mind molded plastic when it's reasonable. It just, the mismatch of finish does look weird, especially for the torso, or the abdomen, especially since the abdomen itself is fairly well detailed-ish, and it's glossy. It really catches the eye and throws off the look. Like, there's no way you guys aren't noticing this, right? I sure hope it's showing up on camera. It looks weird. It looks like someone covered him in Vaseline. So that's strange. The molded black is fine. We do see some detail work in the gloves, for example. You see the texturing along the main gauntlet, and then the stripes and knuckle things on the hands. Same kind of detail work down here on the boots. That's all good. The cape, it's got texture on it. That's nice. The wrinkles are a little weird. The way they come to a point here, that's very strange. I've never even seen a cape look like that before. Why does it come to a point? That's a really weird way of doing it. Capes don't do that, like, ever. I mean, unless there's like a particular sculpt to it, like as far as the character design. I couldn't find any versions of Batman where his cape had pointy wrinkles, so that's weird. And then the head. Let's talk about the head real quick from a sculpt standpoint. It's weird again. He's got a really big upper head, and it's a really weird shape. His forehead's a little bit better than that Punisher Batman, but it's still a little bit weird, mostly because the top of his head goes like a ski ramp. It just goes straight up to where his ears are, and there's like a triangular point, edge, right here. It's like flat here and then flat along the top, so there's very angular. It's weird. It's not head-shaped. It's really not head-shaped. It's quite strange. The face part, the sculpting is okay, though it really doesn't look like the source material at all, so that's a bummer. And I'll do a Photoshop, I know you guys want it, but his legs are way too big for the rest of his body. Like, if you just look at this half, it's acceptable. His head's not that much too small for that part of his body, but if you include the legs, his head instantly looks even tinier. The proportioning is very strange on this guy. Realistically, if his legs were a little bit tinier, and then I did a few other adjustments, which hopefully you'll see in the Photoshop, it looks so much better, and there's just no reason for these weird issues. Like, it's very strange that we keep getting these weird problems for Batman. Very, very strange. And then that leads me to the sculpt work on the torso. It's almost like they just get a torso shape and then kind of add the lines in. Like, he doesn't really have any shape to his body. It's just one general shape with etching rather than actual muscles protruding. Like, the pecs don't stick out. There's no, like, abdominal or serrator muscles going on the upper part at all. Down here we have a lot of wrinkles, but there's really no muscular detail in the torso. Same thing for the arms. It's really just like general arm shape on both sides. There's no differentiation between the bicep, the tricep, and the I always forget that one. Damn it, brachia, I can't remember now. It's the muscle that lays underneath the bicep. Anyway, it connects down into the forearm. It's not there, like there's no muscle definition there. For the quads, we also have basically no muscle definition. Very marshmallowy. He's very soft looking, and his legs are still very straight up and down. They're a little bit better than some that we've seen before, but the weird lumping and not real detail is not good. It doesn't look right. It throws off. These are superheroes, damn it. Why can't the superhero figures look like superheroes? What is going on? How did the $5 figures from 1995 have better sculpt work than these ones now? It's weird. Has anybody else noticed this? Please tell me someone else has noticed that the superheroes don't look like superheroes in any of the collectibles, really. It's very strange. Paint-wise, like I said, we do have some. My Bat logo is pretty rough. It's there. It's acceptable, but it's pretty rough. And then on the face, they added some shading. That looks kind of nice. Like, it's not bad. If the head sculpt was good, that would be a standout thing. But since the head sculpt looks kind of weird, I just don't care. Like, it's technically good. That's what I'm going to tell you in the review. It's good. But for me personally, a bad head sculpt with a good paint job, meh, doesn't do a thing for me. Okay, so that's enough for the aesthetics. Let's just give it a rating. 6 out of 10. The weird proportioning throws it off a lot. Very, very strange. Okay, as far as accessories go, it's kind of a strange assortment. We have one gripping hand and one fist hand. I've been saying we need fist hands for Batman since the beginning of this line, and I'm happy we at least got one. The gripping hand's a little bit weird, especially since his accessory is his grapnel gun, which is perpetually being fired. It's all one sculpt. It doesn't have any paint or really any detail, which I could live with the detail, but the paint's a bit weird. But it's also comically large. He grips it from the bottom when that's supposed to fit between his index and ring or middle finger, that little upright piece. So it's comically large and looks really goofy. Other accessories include his black display stand of immense value and his collector/trading card, which is now just a photo of the figure. I don't get it. Why are they still spending money on these? Are you guys into the cards? I could see when it was artwork at least a little bit, like the idea of artwork. The fact that they didn't match anything was weird, but now that it's just a photo of the figure, it's like, let me just have some advertising for the figure. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So accessory-wise, 3 out of 10. No two fist hands, no batarang. Even the gripping hand is a weird gripping hand that doesn't fit the thing properly, and the thing doesn't fit in properly. And that's what she said. It's just weird. It's a weird assortment of accessories. Again, this line is continually baffling to me. Okay, let's talk about the articulation. There is nothing between the head and the neck. It's a solid sculpt, which is fine. I don't mind that on a character like this especially. It's fine. I tend to prefer the neck to head split being where the articulation is rather than down here, but this is perfectly suitable. It's totally up to preference. They're both functional in different ways. But let's see if it's functional. It leans side to side enough. That's pretty good. Does it lean up? Yeah, it leans up enough, a little bit. It would lean more if it was just the top of the head moving. That's why I prefer that. You get more range out of the neck to head split rather than the neck to torso split. And it leans down a little bit, but then it ends up tucking his chin down into his collarbone. So it works, but it's a little bit weird and could have been better if they left the neck alone and split the head off. But that's okay. It'll work well enough. You'll be able to get some nice nuance out of that. It is still a ball peg, so that's okay. Shoulders. They go up better than horizontal. That's good. No problem there. You do get your full rotation, not counting the cape. Why they bother with that cap still is beyond me. You get virtually 0 additional range out of that. There's just the tiniest wiggle. Very weird. Bicep swivel is fine, but it's very poorly implemented with such a deep cut, especially for a non-sculpted body part. Like, this doesn't look like a really nice sculpt that they just kind of slid the joint into. This looks like a very unfinished sculpt with a really weird joint. So it's functional but weird looking. Elbows give you good range. They're still a little bit weird looking as well, but they are functional, so that's fine. The wrists have a little ball hinge, which is fine. You're going to get very little range out of it due to the sculpt of the glove, but it's okay. For the torso, I'm very curious to see what kind of abdominal range this guy gets. He's going to lean back. I'm betting right now. Wait. Uh-oh. Mine, at least, and like there's a little bit of movement, so it's not totally stuck, but I can't get it to lean back. So that's as far as he's leaning back. And at the same time, as far as he's leaning forward. Like, I get virtually 0 range out of this torso. Maybe mine is stuck, but it's not working, so I can't do anything about that. Side to side is nothing. Rotation, okay. If it is one singular joint, it's not stuck then, because it does rotate, but it doesn't lean at all. Down here, we do have another ball peg, which does lean, so that's better than nothing. It goes back. Doesn't go forward. as per. Side to side is fine, and then you get more rotation down there. I'm tending to think they don't like using this joint because even in the photograph, I said photograph funny, they didn't like articulate these two pieces separately. They just twisted him like this rather than sharing the rotation. Whatever. It doesn't work. Okay, moving on to the hips. Going out to the side, you do get plenty of range, almost full on splits, but he is a floppy mess. Like, his joints are just disgustingly loose and floppy. Not good. You probably couldn't tell what was happening. His legs were flopping. They were not holding in place. The legs do go back a decent amount. I like that. And they go forward enough. The diaper gets in the way, but I'll excuse that. I think that's good enough. And then they do have ever so slight thigh swivel built in. Not much, but it is there. Very loose forward and back as well. Double jointed knees. They finally didn't sculpt the quads onto the knee joint. That's a good thing, but they did leave a big gap up there, which is a little bit of a weird thing. I don't know. They do a lot of strange things with this line. His knees are very bulky and cumbersome, but they're functional and better looking than most of the knees they've made, so I will give them that. That is better. This is an appropriate knee for this sculpt. It's not like a cookie cutter knee shape that they just cut out, so I'll take it. For the ankles, we have the ball hinge we've seen before. You get two positions, which is not good. You're going to have a heck of a time posing this guy with any sort of nuance at all. Don't care for that. You can rotate it around for an ankle rocker, but due to the boot shape, you can't really get much out of it, so that's a bummer. And then the toe hinge is actually pretty tight and far enough forward and well enough done that that's a decent example of a toe hinge. Somebody commented the other day how I said toe hinges are terrible. I don't know that I've said that. I might have, but I didn't mean blanketly they're terrible. Generally speaking, they're not well enough implemented to be worth the budget. That's my philosophy. This one is, so it's fine. Okay, articulation on this guy is going to get 6 out of 10. Too many limitations, too many weird things, too many loose joints. Some of it's fine, but fine's not enough. Even at $20, what's the point? If it's not going to be worth $20, it's not worth it no matter the fact that it's $20. Like, that's not a great way of explaining it, but people always say, it's only $20, what do you expect? Well, I expect it to do what it's supposed to do. It's an action figure with articulation. It should work. That's all. If they can't do that for $20, raise the price and make it better, or don't make it at all. But that's like saying I bought bread and it was cheap, so it's allowed to be stale. Nope, it still has to be bread. It has to be edible, good bread, or it's not worth buying it, whether it's cheap or not. Okay, that's enough of the philosophy class. Let's go ahead and just do a final rating on this guy. It's so close to being a good Batman. Like, it has all the potential in the world. They had no reason for it to be a problem, but it's not that good. Maybe it's the best one they've released of like the standard looking Batman, but it's still not a very good figure. It has some sparks. Some sparks are there, but it didn't catch. It's just not great. I'm going to give it a generous final rating of 6 out of 10. Loose joints, strange finishes, poor execution in the sculpt, in the paint, other than the mouth. It's just all around weird. It's too weird. I don't see a point in having this over basically any of the other Batman figures I already own. So there's plenty of old ones that are at least as good as this. So say what you want about the DCSH Batman and the stylization. At least it had some nice sculpt work and paint all over it. This is just weird. So that's where I stand. Relatively disappointed. It's acceptable at best. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands, yes, actually thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.